Hello, this is Spartan Commander, and this is the 285th Rome Total War Brotherhood game that I've put onto YouTube, and this is a midweek bonus battle. As you can see, this has been fought on a custom flat map hosted by Brotherhood member Crypto. And as I say, this is a midweek bonus battle, and I hope you can enjoy it. Okay, the team I'm in today consists of Brotherhood member Clash. Now, Clash has been away from Rome Total War for a long time, very long time, and this is one of his first battles back onto RTW. So it'll be interesting to see how well he does, see if he's a little bit rusty or not. And our next teammate is myself, Spartan Commander, who has bought the Rome Julio faction. If you might notice there, this is one of those original old armies of mine. I think it's got 13 infantry and I believe 6 cavalry. So it'll be interesting to see how well that old army does. I think I think Clash commented on my old army. And the third teammate is Brotherhood member Ulon, who has bought the Rome Julio faction. So there's our team there. Years of experience. It should be a great one for you to watch. And here is the other team. We have Brotherhood member Crypto, the host of this custom map, and he's bought the Rome Scipio faction. And then we have Brotherhood member Uther, who's also bought the Rome Scipio faction. Interesting formation there. That looks pretty solid, and he's got his 6 cavalry at the back. All with, I think they've got 7, or is that 8 upgrades on. Very good cavalry, that, and he's got his general in the middle of his infantry to give that morale bonus, but also an unusual unit to bring these days, peasants. Now, these 120-man peasant units, if you can get them to stand their ground, they'll soak up pilers as good as any expensive unit like the urban cohorts. So that's not a bad unit to think about bringing new players to RTW. As I say, as long as you can get them to stand, they'll soak up pilers pretty well. And their third teammate is Brotherhood member Steve Longshanks, who's also bought the Rome Scipio faction. If you note, Steve's got a eagle unit in amongst his infantry, so that'll give extra morale there. As you can see, there's the eagle unit, 122 men in that unit, I believe. So that's going to give him a lot of extra pilers to throw, and that looks a pretty solid army to me. And he's got his 6 cavalry. And of course that's the Rome SBQR faction there. So there's lots of experience on this battlefield, years and years. This should be a good one for you to watch. Okay, this stage of the battle, I thought we'd have a look at Clash's old formation. Do you remember we've talked in other battle videos about, up to about 9 years ago, 8-9 years ago, we always used to bring wide formations. Well, if you notice, this is what Clash has bought here, a wide formation. If you look at modern day RTW players, you'll see their Roman armies are more in depth, with maybe 3 or 4 rows of infantry. So that's an old-fashioned wide formation. Should be interesting to see how well it does. Okay, at this very early stage of the battle, you can see that Steve Longshanks is attempting a left flanking action here against our teammate Clash. Remember, the enemy are the blue Scipii Roman faction, and we are the purple SBQR and the red Julii. So just at a glance during the course of the battle, you'll be able to see kind of who's who here. If you notice, Steve being very aggressive here on this left flanking action, moving his units round, trying to turn Clash's units. If you notice, Clash is throwing some pilers into Steve's forward piler shield units there. If you notice, you see Steve's got his cavalry ready there to strike. He was hoping to catch Clash's forward piler shield unit moving there. Probably if he'd have caught it moving, he would have routed it, but he certainly caused a lot of casualties with that cavalry hit. If you notice here, Clash's formation is quite thin now. He's covering a large area here, and it wouldn't surprise me if Uther kind of brought some units over to take advantage of that. If you can see the pilers pouring in here, can you see that Clash has lost his forward piler shield unit, and has now got his units in that close, his battle line is in a close formation. But when Steve starts throwing pilers into those close formation units, Clash is going to lose a lot of men there. I can see Clash is throwing a lot of pilers into Steve's forward units. Let's just pause the game for a second. So as I say, here on the left flank, you can see that Steve's doing an aggressive flanking action there against Clash. And if you notice that Uther's brought some units over and his cavalry as well to this left flank to help with the attack. He's got his peasants there to soak up the piles. You can see it looks to me like the peasants have already suffered some piler damage, but as I say, they're very cheap, and if you can get pilers thrown at them, all the better. As you can see here, Uther's got an interesting formation here. If you can see there, he's got two open file units there, and he's got one in testudo there to soak up any pilers in front of my old Julii army. And over on the right flank here, you can see Crypto and Ulan have not locked horns yet, but you can see that Ulan's split his army. If you notice, he's got an eagle unit in one of his armies there to give morale support, and he's got his general in the other one of his armies there to give morale support. So that should be interesting to see what happens there. But over here on the left flank seems to be where Steve is going to be very aggressive towards Clash. You can see the old-fashioned formation there, quite thin, and you can see the new type of formation that's quite in-depth there, I thought, quite well. I think most of the forward units have thrown their pilers into the enemy troops there. If you notice here, can you see I'm moving my infantry forward there to try and, if you like, capture or surround that one unit in testudo there, just to be a little bit aggressive there, hopefully trying to take a little bit of pressure off of that left flank, because Clash looks like he's under quite a bit of pressure there over on that left. As you can see there, that peasant unit held well there when Ulan's cavalry unit hit it, still held. So that's pretty good, because peasants' morale is so low they usually rout at the first thing. Meanwhile, here over on our right, can you see that Ulan has taken one of his armies, his B army if you like, with the eagle unit for morale, round on a right flank in action here against Crypto. He's also advancing his other main A army towards Crypto's army there, probably with a view to try and take a bit of pressure off of our left flank. If we can attract enemy units over to this side rather than pressurising over on our left flank, that possibly is the best thing to do there. Let's say there's years and years of experience on this battlefield here. There's a lot of players in this battle that's been playing RTW since it first came out. So, as I say, there are a lot of experienced players here. I must say I'm a little bit worried here on our left flank. As I say, can you see the amount of pilers that Steve now is throwing in to Clash's close order units? And that's going to cause a heck of a lot of damage. That's why we have those forward open order piler shield units to soak up pilers, because in open order you suffer less casualties. But Clash here, he's got his main battle line in close formation, and they're going to suffer a lot of casualties from Steve's pilers there. So I just hope that he'll be able to hold, because with suffering loads and loads of casualties, he'll be very susceptible to being rushed then. If you notice here, can you see Uther sending his cavalry through, charging it into some more of Clash's units here that are facing some of Uther's units. As I say, there's a lot of pressure on our left flank there. I think both Ulan and myself are thinking of being aggressive in the centre and on the right flank there to try and draw units away from our left. But whether we'll be able to do that or not, I guess we'll see as the game goes on. As you can see here, Ulan's still doing that right flank in action there. As I say, trying to take a bit of pressure off of our left flank. But as I say, Steve's formation, you can see how deep it is. Loads of fresh units there, just ready to throw in against Clash's, if you like, thin formation there. As I say, you can see why we changed from thin to more in depth in our formations, I think. Especially new players watching this battle. I think Steve's still throwing pilers in there, still softening up some of Clash's troops, some of his units there before he attacks. And my guess is he will attack probably with cavalry and infantry there on this left flank. If If you notice, Uther's pulled his cavalry over in a very threatening manner here. You can see their target definitely is our left flank here. And you can see Steve advancing now into Clash's infantry. He's moving his cavalry forward too. Bang, as that cavalry hits straight into Clash's formation there. Clash is going to counter-attack with 3 of his cavalry units. But make no mistake, there's a lot of pressure here on Clash's infantry line. Let's just pause again for a second. As you can see all of Steve's infantry and cavalry starting to smash into Clash's units here on our left flank. You can also see Uther throwing units forward as well onto this left flank. So as I say, things not looking that good on the left here. I think both Ulan and myself in this, if I remember correctly, were trying to be aggressive as we could over on the right and in the centre here to try and draw units over away from the left flank there. But I guess we'll just have to see how successful we are with that or not. If you notice here, can you see Crypto's pulling his cavalry away from the centre there? So if you look at the way the army is set up, with Crypto pulling his cavalry over to that right flank where Ulan's attacking, can you see maybe a bit of a weak spot in the enemy lines here? Right, if you see, I've got my 6 fresh cavalry units there, and what I'm looking at is Uther's infantry in front of my infantry. As I say, with the enemy cavalry pulling over to this this flank here, counter-attacking Ulan's cavalry here. So we've pulled that cavalry away there, and if you notice in the centre, there's so much to show you during the course of this battle. It's kind of a bit difficult to get everything in the filming, but if you notice here in the centre, I'm going to try and smash through Uther's centre here with my cavalry, straight through as hard as I can. But over on our left flank here, you can see that Uther and Steve are both attacking Clash over on the left flank. If you notice, Uther charging his cavalry and Steve's moving all his infantry and cavalry forward here. And things are not looking very good on our left. Clash is, if you notice, Clash has moved kind of away from me and Ulan a bit there. He's kind of got himself a little bit isolated. So what I'm trying to do is smash through the centre here, cause the enemy some concern, and hopefully they'll bring units over. But both Ulan and myself are attacking over on the centre and the right flank here. But whether we'll pull units away, I don't know. As you can see here, there's a fierce fight on our left. But if you just simply look at all the blue Scipii units there, remember we're purple SBQR and red Julii. So just looking at, you can see exactly what's happening here on our left flank. The enemy are actually overwhelming on our left flank there, and basically our left flank is almost broken. But we're still trying to smash through the enemy in the centre and on the right here. If you notice here in the centre, I'm moving my infantry forward, engaging Uther's infantry here.
Our allies have lost their leader.
Engaging Uther's infantry, pulled my cavalry back with a view to charge straight in again. Now what I want to do is punch a hole through Uther's infantry there. I want to punch a hole right through there. But over here on our left flank, you can see that most of our allies' SBQR units have now been taken out, and Steve will start trying to roll us up from left to right here. Let's just pause again for a second. So you can see here our left flank got a little bit isolated there and it's been taken out, and Steve now will try and roll us up from left to right. If you notice, I've thrown a couple of infantry units over there to try and slow down his advance while we try and take out Uther's army here, and if possible Crypto's army on the other flank there as well. But whether he will or not, I don't know. But all I know is that Steve's forces are coming in over fast now to get in behind us and attack our flank. And as I say, try and roll us up from left to right here. Let's say, you can see I've moved over a couple of infantry units there to try and, if you like, neutralise the attack that's coming in. But as you can see, there's massive forces coming over there from the left. So I must say, at this stage of the battle, things do not look very good for our team here. Like I say, Steve's bringing cavalry over. He's probably going to hit into the rear of some of Ulan's troops there, as you can see. Crypto's charged cavalry forward as well. There, if you notice here, I'm bringing my cavalry over from the centre. We've managed to smash a hole through the enemy centre there. So I'm bringing my cavalry over to try and go into the rear or flanks of the enemy troops fighting Ulan here over on our right flank. Let's just pause the game for a second. So as you can see here on the right flank, Ulans and myself are attacking the blue enemy armies there, trying to do as much damage as we can. Meanwhile, I've thrown in my infantry over on this over on the centre here to try and hold Steve's advancing victorious troops from the left flank. But as you can see, just looking at numbers there, I think my army is going to be overwhelmed, I would have thought. Remember, the enemy are the blue and we are the red and the purple, but I think unfortunately most of the purple units have been taken out. If you notice here, I'm deploying more of my infantry against Steve's units there, who's moving over from left to right. Meanwhile, we're still trying to take as many of the Scipii troops out as we can over on this right flank. Right, if you notice there, I charged my cavalry in, got the full 6 cavalry charge bonus. I don't want to tangle with infantry, so I'm going to pull my cavalry out with a view to rally and then charge him back in there. If you notice that Ulan's got some of his infantry engaging some of these Scipii troops over here. As I say, over here on our in our centre now, you can see Steve starting to move units around my flank here. Nice tactical move there by Steve. Rather than just hitting at the front door, he's moving it around the flank. Let's just pause the game for a second. So as I say, there's my infantry there. Remember, I only had 13 units and they're battle damaged. And Steve's moving his main army over from left to right here, trying to roll us up. And he's taking units around the flank of my army as well. But if you notice here, can you see I'm charging my cavalry in here? If you notice that Crypto's infantry are surrounded by Ulan's infantry. So basically their morale, even though the general's there, their morale will be low. And what I'm thinking is, if I can smash in there with my cavalry, we might get a mass rout here on this right flank. Let's just see what happens. So you can see my cavalry charging in. My cavalry will be tired, but as they hit, bang, as that cavalry hits and goes straight through the enemy. I aimed for the far Scipii unit there, so my cavalry would go straight through all those Scipii units. Okay, so now we've routed the infantry, the enemy army on our right, and we've taken most of the enemy army out that was in the centre there. So now we've got to start moving our troops over from that right flank over to support my beleaguered infantry that's getting battered and smashed by cavalry and infantry here. Right, can you see Ulan's bringing his infantry over? If you notice, I'm charging my cavalry in. Although my cavalry is very tired at the moment, that will make a difference to how well they fight. And bang, as my cavalry hits. See a lot of those blue Scipii units starting to rout with the impact of my cavalry. But if you notice, Steve has moved his infantry units around the flank and is coming behind some of my units as well.
The army is in flight. Pursue them and drive them from the battlefield. Right, just pause the game for a second. As you can see here, we've got Steve moving units around the flank and the rear, using his years of experience there, and using the I think he's got more numbers than us here, moving it around the flank, engaging us at the front to hold us at the front, meanwhile using units to take round the flank and the rear. Nice tactical move there by Steve. As you can see here, I'm going to pull my cavalry back with a view to try and target the enemy Scipii infantry if I can see a target worth having. If you notice here, can you see our Julii armies there are a little bit blobbed? If you notice here, can you notice we're kind of like a bit of a blob there, and that makes it easy for the enemy to get units round behind us and into the flanks of us here. There's a nice little attacking unit there of Ulans straight into the rear of those attacking Scipii units. Nice little hit there. I'm going to charge my cavalry back in. My cavalry probably very tired now, but managed to charge in there and take out that Scipii unit. As we talked about in other battle videos, as your units get more tired and very tired and exhausted, their fighting capability gets less and less. And I notice my cavalry, I think, are very tired now, so they've done a lot of fighting in this battle.
And as you can see here, if you look at the battle in general here, remember we're the red, our team's the red Julii, and the enemy are the blue Scipii. Now Steve recognises that my cavalry could be a danger to him. If you notice, he's got a couple of units out there watching my cavalry, infantry units there, ready to charge into them if need be. I think Ulan's general and my general are still alive at the moment, still giving morale bonus to our troops. And there's just one of our generals just been taken out there. But with the generals going, I think our troops are pretty tired as well. If you notice, I charged my very tired cavalry in, but they're so tired they hardly had any impact at all when they charged in there. And I think that's my general's just been killed as well there. So if you notice now, there's a mass rout of our units there. Some nice tactical, aggressive moves there by Steve right from the very beginning of the battle. And it looks like the other team have gone on to win. Let's just pause the game for a second. Now bearing in mind it's only a 3v3, look at the intensity of the fighting. Over here on that right flank, can you see the dead? The piles of dead there to show how intense the fighting was on that right flank. And as we move forward to the centre, through to the centre, see the piles of dead there to see how intense the fighting was in the centre. And of course over on the left flank where Clash was attacked by Steve and Uther, they're over on that left flank there. As you can see, a little bit isolated there from the centre, but as you can see, the intensity of the fighting was really massive. So as you can see there, the enemy have actually gone on to win the battle there. Well done to them.
Even after all our efforts.
My guess is it's going to be a close one. I would think there's not a lot of Steve's infantry left there, and a few of Uther's. Oh, there you go. It was a close defeat there for us. Just like to say, really well done to Crypto, Uther and Steve. Really nice, aggressive, attacking tactics there. And really well done to Ulan and Clash. They did well as well, and our team there. Nice kills there for Uther and Steve. If you notice there, over 1,500, both of them there. So really well done to them. And if you notice, newer players for RTW, once again, can you see I've got the smallest army on the battlefield, and yet I've managed to get the most kills. So like we said in other battle videos, maybe it's not the size of the army that you bring, but how you use it that helps you, can help your team win there. But just to say, well done once again to Crypto, Uther and Steve. Great battle tactics, and well done to Clash and Ulan. And I hope you enjoyed the battle. This is Spartan Commander saying bye for now.